My God. Won't the case ever end? I have considered the defense counsel's request for further summation examination of the jury. And I have determined that the court must uphold the defense judicial right to the procedure. Get fucked. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second summation examination. I presume the jury is ready, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. Very good. In that case, I'm asking each of you now to state clearly and concisely for the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of this crime. God, okay, I won't lie though. The summation examination music is literally bopping, bruh. The accused left behind evidence of the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. There was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed. I might reconsider. Novel alternative explanation? Pepe hands, let's go! Even if the woman was thrown in books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it? Very me, with only a little book, hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit. Look, I just want to get it over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble. You guys will get judicial pay, bruh. Come to think of it, we had a fire at our home a while ago. Gave me the sneezes. Well, yes, considerably more tangible arguments from all members of the jury this time around, it seems. Not all of them. With one notable exception, of course. I didn't bring water. Whoops. My learned student friend was unable to find a fault in the previous witness testimony. Oh my God, he called me out. So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. We already knew that. You can't... we're not denying that part. And moreover, no one else was even at the scene to commit the crime. Okay, we're denying that part. We're denying... Well, no one actually was at the scene of the crime. Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued in any other way. Well, you're about to see, Your Honor. That means, I'm afraid that during this summation examination, it's essentially that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts. But how? What would even constitute a tangible explanation here? It's something really dumb, Naruhodo. No, it's not the third case. No, the third case was usually the bad one. Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman? And how? Those 2 details are all you need provide. Simply give a name and a method by which the attack was conducted. I wouldn't say attack. And here I was thinking this might be hard. Mr. Naruhodo, you have to do it. Otherwise this really will be where the trial ends. Yeah, we're not gonna let that happen. No pressure then. That's quite enough preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I presume you are prepared, counsel? Yes? Oh, yes, my lord. Alright, Ryunosuke, focus your mind now. Ba-bum. Clearly, the key to this summation examination is going to be juror number 4, the maid, or should I say, Mrs. Garrideb. We have a book that disappeared from the Garrideb's house on the evening of the incident, and the 4th book found in the victim's hand. There must be a way to link the 2. Yes, that's what we'll have to find. Using every technique I've learned in my short career so far, whatever it takes. Don't forget to keep an eye on Mrs. Garrideb and how she reacts, even to the things other people say. Oh God. The defense rebuttal. Hit me with the music. Hey, hold it, Mr. Juror number 1, aka Bruce Fairplay. As we know now, those were 4 books, not 3. Well, what a difference does it make? There's even possibility that the fourth book, in fact, belonged to the defendant's landlord. Yes, that's the part I have a problem with. Sorry? Well, at the point in that woman was stabbed, this landlord fellow was at his house, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something, you said. That's not exactly how I'd put it, no. Well, anyway, the point is, the fellow and his wife are somewhere else where it happened. Bum 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 dun 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 dun. God, what a good mute! What a good. Ah! This is about the only song so far that really hits the Ace Attorney feel. You think that's what you call a strong alibi? Well, it couldn't have been the landlord who did it, which only leaves the Nepalese fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all this palaver is about. It's a done deal, isn't it? I suppose it is, since nothing witty left to say. Excuse me. Sorry, I just ate Olive Garden. If there was some novel alternative explanation, but hold it! Wait a second, I can't hear you. Sorry, fucking music is about. Okay, so you mean you might be willing to change your decision? You mean? Well, my sister on your face, but I'm saying I shan't be swayed by emotion. Despite what you may think of me, I am a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman. I don't know, you're British. That's not really rational. Oh no. That's great. Well, if one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? Wait, what? You see, modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say? Not at all extreme. As I see it, an overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. Despite one or two minor puzzlements, I do declare that this man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelmingly. But us modern gals are so delighted to embrace new fads, you see. I'll be only too happy to consider an exciting new theory if you could come up with one. Be happy to do that too, if only I could. Let's do our very best not to disappoint the modern and metropolitan young lady. Right. I'm glad you admitted I'm rational there. Even if the woman was throwing books, can't be related to the crime if the window is closed, can it? Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Hold it! Wait a second, please, sir. What about the possibility that the window is open? What about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been. How can you be so sure? Prosecution fellow there said earlier, didn't he? Winters in London are no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. Well, no, the window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting up by a fire and staying warm, you see? But you couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you? It just wasn't. They wouldn't have opened it. And what's the point of even having windows, huh? Counsel, you'll kindly refrain from childish bickering. Oh, my bad, sorry. Somehow I need to show there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. This young man isn't trying to budge otherwise. Listen, it gets really hot in here in Texas, but I still don't even open my windows. Like, bruh, it's too hard. It's too hard. Bum bum dun 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 dum 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 dum. Damn, there's only a little book, hardly life-threatening. Okay, we're back.
Hold it!
Hold it! What? But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not? It's flames of love, I'll have you know. No, shut up. There's really no such thing as a loving incendiary bomb. Well, he brought it upon himself. He's playing with fire to betray a fiery love. What? Isn't it? Well, don't you agree? Wait, what? Oh, well, any kind of betrayal is Certainly a bad thing, yes. I think the argument may have arisen out of your misunderstanding, Mrs. Garrett. Never mind that, the point is we're just having a jovial little dispute. Nothing more. Alright, game, okay, Shutakumi, this isn't funny. I want you to know that. This is just spousal abuse. I don't have any of my suggestions or anything whatsoever to do with this case. Oh, jeez. Right, well, we'll see about that. What about juror number 5? He doesn't seem to be turning a hair on Mrs. Garrett's relentless onslaughts. Almost as though he's used to it. What a gentle soul he is. What is going on here? What is going I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be a tiny bit of trouble. Hold it! Hold it! Wait a second. You can't base your opinion off that, sir. You just want to get this over with. How can you sit there and say something like that? A man's future is at stake here. Well, him and me both then, like I said before. What? Told you already, I'm on a day laborer, aren't I? If we don't bring home some readies with me tonight, you'll find me floating face down in the Thames tomorrow morning. What? You heard me. My missus ain't want to mess about. You know she can be fierce. Believe you me. I love that phrase, believe you me. I think shining example of marital bliss then. I bet Shutakumi's like, yo, the wife bad. Am I right, boys? It's like... Situation like this cropped up the other day. It was, did you know? It's funny, but I can't really quite remember. Sorry? It was too frightening, that's the thing. Must have blocked it out. Helpful. I wonder if Mrs. B will ever be dragged into the Thames by his scarf. Don't even go there, Mrs. Down. I don't want that couple. I don't want to see that couple in a bad light. They're the two cutest people I've ever seen in my life. Bum, 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 bum. There must be some way to jog the memory about this. Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago. It gives me the sneezels. The sneezes. Hold it! Wait. Does that have anything to do with the decision about the defendant's culpability in this case? Sorry? What's that? You have to speak up, lad. Could you tell us more about the fire? It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. It had 75, oh my god, 75 candles on top of it. What a sight to behold. I always love seeing the memes like that, where it's like a billion cakes. It's a billion candles. You put candles on a cake? Was this some kind of devil worship? Did I have that in Japan? Of course not, it's an angel cake. To celebrate my birthday, obviously. Seems that a common custom here in Great Britain. It seems that's a common custom here in Great Britain, Mr. Naruhodo. Anyway, I must have all my puff to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but candles went flying all over the room. The furniture caught and everything went up, and the whole place filled with smoke. Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. That's what he... Bum 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 bum. And by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold. But how did you catch a cold from a fire? Oh, I had to open my window to get the smoke out. What a fiasco was. The grandchildren, bless them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. And then, because the whole room had filled up with smoke, of course, we had to open all the windows to clear it. The windows? The biting winter rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave it did. I had a terrible cold from it. It put me in the hospital for a while. Won't forget that birthday in a hurry. I knew it was devil worship all along. But for something about the old man's story is playing on my mind for some reason. It's almost like we've come to a reasonable conclusion as to why the window could be open. We need to demonstrate who, apart from Mr. Natsumi, could have attacked the young woman on the street, as well as how he or she could have done it. Yes, but once again, the jurors' statements are full of personal prejudice. A lot of them seem convinced they're right, even in the face of logical arguments to the contrary. I think you need to pit them against each other to force them to accept an alternate explanation. Yes. I don't necessarily need to find contradictions between their citations. Just a connection might do the trick. Alright, I'll see what I can do. If anything stands out, I'll go in for a strike. That's the spirit. Bum 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 bum. Dun 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 dun. Oh. Hold it, juror number 3.
Objection!
Wow! These two juror statements clearly contradict one another. They do? How exactly, counsel? Don't point at me again, I told you it wasn't me. It wasn't. Ah? What's that you say? Speak up, lad, speak up! Juror number 3, do you see? Oh, me? See what, sir? You hear juror number 6? Do you hear juror number 6's account of his birthday celebration last year? It seems, despite being a Londoner, he once opened his windows in the middle of winter. Well, yes, of course, because it was an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the room was filled with smoke from a fire, then you'll be mad not to open the... Oh! Exactly. On the day in question, at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garadeb's household. Mr. Garadeb had the following to say about it. The whole place filled with smoke.
Oh my!
Oh my hat!
Excuse me!
Excuse me! Juror number 4, do you have something to say about that? Mrs. Garadeb! Oh, dearie me! What's the meaning of this? How dare you imply that I'm hiding who I really am? Imperative that you confirm something for the court. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now. What's this? When the fire started in your house that day, did you or your husband open the window? Well, I beg your pardon, what are you insinuating? So, quit the act! This room could have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught fire as they did. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable that you wouldn't have opened the window. And what if we did? Oh, you son of a bitch. Alright then, yes, you're right. Husband was frantically trying to open the window, which can't happen easy since I continue to give him a justly deserved book battering. No, your house was on fire. Oh, you never stopped throwing until the anger subsides. It was terribly bad for the nerves to do other. Okay, that's kind of funny. Of course, I should have realized. And then step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. You managed to establish that the window was open. You simply must have that added to Mrs. Garadeb's formal statement. Wait, they didn't change anything, though. Oh, it's different. Oop. The window could have been opened with the woman throwing books. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, when his house fires a diary, you know, do I press this?
Hold it!
Hold it! Fourth book found at the scene of the crime. There's very obvious signs of fire damage. was my favorite part. Bum, bum. And the title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garrett had told that he had been reading. Well, you couldn't really say. On the day in question, did you or did you not throw at your husband? Bum, 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 bum. The copy of The Lion's Pride that he had been reading. Bum, 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 dun, 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 dun. Oh. I did. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. Now you can only come to mention it, yes. It was rather enjoying reading it, you're right. Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the outset? You couldn't, you insolent little man, I didn't remember. Like this, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on, all as well, you know. I really don't. I barely noticed I was throwing a book, much less the title of it. Oh, my man's remembering something. Hold it. Wait a second.
Excuse me.
What is it, juror number 5? Oh, you know something? I've been wondering what it is. The memory are blocked out. I want to fucking die. This is taking forever. I was listening to what this granny was saying. Brought up. What are you calling a granny, you cheeky devil? Mr. Garrett up with a maid, I'll have you know. Man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's not because he's so used to being hit all the time. It's like... It was about 2 weeks ago now. Just got back home after work, like... With my hand in my pocket for the wages I just earned that day and nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny had dropped out. Dear, what a disaster. You haven't even heard the half of it, boy. Oh? My wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I couldn't have it getting the words out, but I told her straight. I've lost the day's wages, love. Next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear, stuck into the wall next to me it did, about an inch deep. No words, just terror. Smell it then, you know, that god-awful stench of the Thames. I'm sure I was gonna end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I could tell you. Now, that's a real disaster, isn't it? I'll never use that word lightly again, now. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rage, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it. Naruhodo, you mustn't think that all women are so short-tempered and unrefined. I know, Suzuto, please back off. You're my wifey in future. I do not doubt it a single bit. I shipped Maya and Phoenix the entire game. The entire series. I'm not gonna not stop here. Oh no, I wasn't thinking that. Throwing household objects at people is, well, it's so uncivilized. At least attack with honor. With you! Using a bow or the like. Oh, wait a minute. What? Attack? Who are you going to attack? Never mind. Anyway, this man's words. It'll be really significant, I think. Alright, we'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later, if I dare. Bum, 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 bum. A woman in a rage will hurl almost anything at you. The kitchen knife really brought that home to me. I didn't mean to do that. Your wife really threw a kitchen knife at you? That's right. She was chopping meat with it. Had a tidy edge on it, believe me. Still, all memories, isn't it? It all started with the smile she threw me when we were recording, and since then, the list of things she's thrown at me has grown along with our relationship. There was a cup, then a glass, then a pot, a kettle, a chair, a wardrobe, a cooker, a bed. Yeah, her wife must be even beefier than you. And things came to a head last week when she threw me right into the Thames. Still, she's not bad when she's calmed down. She's a little sweetheart, really. I'm so happy for you. You want me to know what you think, what I think. I think this whole idea of ladies first, we were so obsessed with in this country. Was taught by some clever lads who've been tossed in the Thames a few times too many by their wives. That's a very interesting theory. What a terrible thought. The face of it, this juror's statement just sounds like a really extremely antidote. Antidote? But I think it might turn out to be an extremely powerful weapon. A weapon I might be able to use to make the jurors accept an alternative explanation here. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that, I meant to pick. If there was some about how he was stabbed, how about with a knife? Boom! These two statements clearly have deeply significant connections. Good grief, you mean they don't contradict each other? Explain, counsel, at once. Juror number 2, do you think perhaps that this could be such a novel alternative? Oh my, whatever do you mean? An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back. What are you talking about? We've demonstrated that the 4th book, The Lion's Pride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated in Mr. Garrideb's room on the top floor of his house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Garrideb's household to the street below. Oh, what's this now? After all, Mrs. Garrideb had thrown any number of different objects at her husband. Isn't that right? Juror number 4. What are you saying now, you little beanpole? I can't even think that ever since the true origin of the book came to light. Perhaps you're feeling this might be what happened. Now you listen here, you Eastern Gala. As the foreman of this jury, demand a straight answer. You gave us this yarn about some other objects making its way out of the house, but what? What was it? I'm really taking a big gamble here. It was a bold accusation to make, but I haven't had any real evidence to back it up. But I'm certain that at the very least this warrants further investigation. Alright, Mr. Foreman, I'll try to explain the defense's theory. The other object that found its way from the Garrideb's household to the scene of the crime was this jacket.
Take that!